Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are visiting the channel for the first time, you are welcome. In today's video, I am going to show you some of my vintage collections and how I am going to use them to decorate my dining hutch. So without much ado, let's go into the video. Here you can see some of the vintage items I have collected over the year, and also I picked some items from my existing collections to decorate the hutch. I'll be explaining about each of the vintage item while decorating. Friends, if you have not subscribed to the channel before, please consider subscribing. The open hutch is cleaned and kept ready for decorating. Starting from the first level, placing the speaker plate as the background. This is a vintage gravy boat with saucer and a bowl with floral prints by Grindlay, England. On the other side of the shelf, adding this cutting board as a background. This is another vintage item, which is a handcrafted pottery teapot. Adjacent to that, adding this wooden log as a riser. Adding over it this vintage pitcher pewter jug. To make a pair, got this vintage mini cute clawfoot jug. To satisfy the group of 3 decorating rule, adding this mini kadai set. This is not a vintage item. Just to enhance the continuity, adding this hand painted coaster in front of the cutting board. Now let's move on to the second level of the shelf. Here again placing a wooden log which can be used as a riser. This is a vintage handmade copper pitcher. To pair with this, got this mini little copper jug which is of similar shape to the bigger one. This is also a vintage item. Again, to go with the group of 3, adding this little copper item. This is a vintage picture. This is a reproduction of the artwork called Tulip Fields near The Hague, the work done by the famous French artist Claude Monet during 1886. Adding this coaster box as a riser and placing this crock bowl with handle and lid. This is usually called as a French onion soup crock chili bowl. Though this is a vintage item, similar types can be purchased through Amazon. The favorite item of my vintage collection is this rustic wooden egg holder. The base of it is very heavy. To fill in the space between the two groups and to create a continuity, placing this ceramic planter, adding this faux plant with green and brown foliage. As this picture looks empty, adding this 4 bunch of grapes. Moving on to the next level, placing this recipe notebook. Placing this picture frame at the background, you can see the picture of a deer behind the bush. This picture I got from a magazine. This vintage tin box is from 1960s by the maker Haribo. This mini wooden tray is also a vintage item. Adding a mini terracotta pot with greenery on the tray. On the other side, going to create a vineyard with a copper flower vase and some mini terracotta canisters. Going to place this natural dried baby's breath flowers in this copper vase. Placing this wicker plate as the background so that it matches with the top shelf diagonally. Also, you can see throughout the decor I have maintained the brown and the beige color palette. Now let's move on to decorate the bottom level. Placing this wooden stool made with upcycled wood. This salt, pepper shaker and mustard pot is again a vintage item made of wood on a stand, which is a rare collectible. This copper vase in a unique shape is also a vintage item. Going to place these four florals in this vase, which actually gives the look of natural dried flowers. Adding this vintage bowl with some faux greenery. Now let's see the overview of what we have decorated so far and add some few items at the top of the shelf. These two mini handmade white retro mini bud vases are also vintage items. The last vintage item I wanted to show you in this decor is this vintage teddy bear needlepoint framed embroidery wall art. This is a hand stitched piece in a vintage wooden frame. Hope you have enjoyed decorating with me. If you really liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and share with friends. On a last note, I want to share you the decorating tips I have followed in this decor. I always make sure diagonally the color theme, the texture, the groupings match each other, and always I try to maintain the odd number of grouping, either a group of 3 or a group of 5 and so on. And another important thing is we have to choose the color palette and maintain the color palette throughout the decor. See you all in another video. Thank you.